Our opening words this morning are from Reverend Edward Everett Hale, a former minister of All Souls. And I want to say just a word about Reverend Hale. Hale graduated from Harvard Divinity School and was invited to this pulpit in the mid-1840s. He was much beloved, and they invited him to stay, and he said no, because he felt that he was not ready to be a minister at a church like this. But more than 50 years later, he would sit up here and help participate in the services with Dr. Pierce as the minister when Reverend Hale was serving as chaplain of the United States Senate. So these words from Reverend Hale open us today. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. So let's consider what we can do. Come, let us worship together. We light our chalice today in honor of the radicals and rebels in our religious past who took risks in service of love and liberation. Now I invite you to rise in body and our spirit and join in our opening hymn, When the Spirit Says Do. Now it might be new to many of you, so let me just say two things. One, the song is fun, and two, it is even more fun when we get loud. It may take some learning, but trust me, it will pay off. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone joining us today, both here in the sanctuary and those around the world. My name is Jana Owens and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I welcome you to All Souls Church, where everyone, people of all races, national origins, creeds, gender identities, and expressions sexual orientations, ages, abilities, where all are welcome at our table of love and fellowship. Now, if you're visiting us for the first time, or whether you're on the Zoom or here, for those on Zoom, turn your camera on, wave, text, let people know that you're a visitor. If you're here in the sanctuary, I invite you to raise your hand or stand as you are able so we can give you a warm welcome. I see visitors. Welcome, and please hang around after services in Pierce Hall for coffee and pastries and conversation. Go through the doors to your right out the front here. Now, if you want to tap into the lifeblood of what's going on here in our congregation, and if you do not subscribe to our weekly email newsletter, you need to do so. Go to the All Souls webpage and you can click on a link and sign up. And once you subscribe, I don't think you're going to unsubscribe. Now, I turn your attention to the connection card, which I left over here. You'll find this in your order of service, and it's also posted in the chat. The connection card is our way of staying connected with you, and each week it's going to offer new opportunities for us to stay connected with each other. We want to know how you're doing. We want to support your engagement with our community and to make it easy to communicate with us. So you can consider the invitations on the card throughout the service, and our ushers are going to collect them during the offering. Now, I did notice, I was sitting out there last Sunday, that some people were still filling them out when the offering went by. So you can go into Reeb Hall after services, which is out the door to your left at the desk, and there's a place where you can drop them off. And we particularly appreciate visitors filling in the mailing address so that we can send you a gift. We're so happy you joined us today. Now, today we honor the legacies of both Indigenous and enslaved peoples at this international crossroads that we now call Washington, D.C. For generations, the Piscataway tribes have been the traditional caretakers of our bioregion, and these peoples of the water lived along the Anacostia and the Potomac rivers. Our church has occupied 3 different sites on stolen Native American lands within unjust systems that continue to benefit from Black and immigrant labor. The heritage of all these ancestors, it's still here in this region, and it's also in our congregation. Our commitment to the beloved community and to our 8th principle, they set an intent to educate ourselves and to take action to repair harm. As we benefited directly and materially from stolen land and labor, the descendants of this wrong can also benefit directly and materially from our time, our talent, and treasure. The All Souls Social Justice Ministry is working to show us a path forward. Now, I attended a Unitarian church in Arkansas 20-something years ago, and every single Sunday, the congregation would say together a covenant that I still love. The wording has changed a bit over the years, I've recently found out, but the meaning is still the same. There should be, there we go, on the screens. I invite you to stand as you are able so that we can say our covenant together. Okay. Let us start. Love is the spirit of our people, and service is our call. To build the beloved community, to seek fuller truths and love, to dwell together in peace, to offer aid and affirmation, and to tend to our mutual well-being. This is our covenant. Thank you. And now I invite you to my favorite part, where we greet each other. On Zoom, we invite you to turn on the camera and all of that and give everyone a wave. In the sanctuary, feel free to get up and move around, but when you hear the bell toll, you're welcome to return to your seats and we'll continue. Thank you.
you've done all you can, and it seems like you can't make it through. And what do you say when your friends turn away and you're all alone, all alone? Tell me, what do you get when you've given your all, and it seems like you can't make it through? Well, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. It's after you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle the guilt of your past? Tell me, how do you deal with the shame? And how can you smile while your heart has been broken and filled with pain, filled with pain? Tell me, what do you get when you've given your all, and it seems like you can't make it through? Well, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. It's after you've done all you can, you just stand and be sure. Be not entangled in that bondage again. You just stand and endure. God has a purpose. Yes, God has a plan. Tell me, when you've done all you can, and it seems like you can't make it through, child, you just stand, just stand, stand. You stand through the storm, stand through the rain, through the hurt, stand through the pain. Don't you bow, no, don't you bend. Don't give up, no, don't give in. Hold on, just be strong. God will step in and it won't be long. After you've done all you can, after you've done all you can, after you've gone through the hurts, it's after you've gone through the pain, after you've gone through the storm, it's after you've gone through the rain. Prayed and cried, prayed and cried, prayed and you cried, prayed and cried all night. After you've done all you can, you just stand.
Good morning. Let's hope, okay, there we go. My name is Laura Prophet. I'm the Director of Religious Education, and I would like to invite any children or youth or anybody who'd like to come hear our story up close to come on up. We really need a bigger carpet. Yeah. So if you see people coming up, and you know what? There's space right over here if you want to come sit, so you don't just sit on the floor. All right. Good morning. So today, we're going to talk about talking. Has anyone here ever heard a grown-up say, use your words? We like to say that. What do we mean when we say that? Do you know? What do you think, Clara? It's when you need to talk. Yeah? What do you think, Sammy?
I think that grown-ups say that they mean like instead of getting into a fight with someone,
Instead of getting into a fight, you should talk to someone. Eleanor?
like if you're in somebody, don't fight,
Uh-huh.
like it's better to argue than to hit.
If you're in a fight with someone, don't actually fight, but it's better to talk than hit. Yes, very true. So these are some of the reasons that grown-ups say use your words. One of the other things is when you are thinking about something, who knows what you're thinking about? Yeah, you know what you're thinking about. Do you know what I'm thinking about right now, Eleanor? Right, because you're not in my head. Talking lets people know what's in your head, but it also is an important part of being a human being. So today, the story is called Say Something. Because the world needs your voice. Mine? Yes, yours. Go ahead. It doesn't need to be perfect, as long as it's from your heart. You don't have to be loud. Powerful words can be a whisper. You can say something in so many ways, with words, with action, with creativity. If you see someone lonely, say something by just being there for them. If you see an empty canvas, say something with your brush. If you see an empty lot, say something by planting a seed and watching it bloom. If you see someone being hurt, say something by being brave. This person is saying, hey, stop. That's kind of a scary one to say something about. If you see something beautiful, say something with a poem. If you have a brilliant idea, say something with confidence. And if you want to show the world who you are, say something with style. If you see an injustice, say something peacefully and inspire others to do the same. Sometimes you'll say something and no one will be listening, but keep saying it and you'll find someone who listens. Keep saying it and you might be surprised to find the whole world is listening. If you're grateful for being alive, quietly say something to the stars, to the universe. Some people find it easier to say something than others, but everyone has something to say. And when we say things, especially when we're standing up for a friend, standing up for ourselves, we give other people courage to say something and stand up for themselves too. So it's kind of like a gift that is not a thing, but a thought. All right. Now we are going to sing the children out to RE, to Sia Hamba. We're going to exit to my left and your right.
Indeed, we are. I add my greeting this morning. My name is Keith Arnold. I serve All Souls as Director of Music and Arts, and today as your liturgist. There are many announcements in your order of service. I invite you to check that out. I'll highlight two particular announcements today. Check out the announcement in the order of service about playback theater. Playback theater as a way to explore and strengthen beloved community. Gregory Ford will lead this series of classes where participants are invited to share and to listen to one another's stories. The series begins this coming Saturday, October 19th. More information is in your program. Important work is done by this church every week through the REEB Voting Rights Project. Every Tuesday now in this season up to the election here at All Souls, there is in-person phone banking, as well as opportunities to phone bank online. Check out the REEB booth in the lobby after church, where you can also find out about a voting rights trip to North Carolina at the end of October, led by Reverend Rob Keithan. We turn now to congregational concerns. With a heavy heart, I share the news that All Souls member and devoted Silver Soul, Judy Clark, died last Sunday, shortly after entering hospice care. She had faced numerous significant health challenges in recent years. Our love and caring is extended to her entire family and to all in our congregation and beyond who knew and loved her. Her formal memorial service will likely not be held for many months, but we are working on an informal service in the coming weeks. We'll share details when we know more. And a joy to share today. Chris Cervantes, All Souls choir member and a leader in the By Your Side Singers Congregational Care Choir. You might not know that Chris completed seminary and served as a UU minister in Waco, Texas for many years before moving to the area. The joy to share, All Souls has voted to serve as a formal sponsor for Chris for her ministerial fellowship with the Unitarian Universalist Association. Please join me in congratulating Chris in this next step in her formation. You're now invited to say into this space or type into the chat the names or locations or issues, whatever is on your heart that you wish to lift up this morning. Let those names now be shared. Spirit of life, power of being in everyone and everywhere. For those who are hungry, let there be food. For those who are cold, let there be warmth. For those who are ill or in pain, let there be healing and relief. For those impacted by war, let there be peace. For those who live in fear, let there be comfort. For those who feel not love around them, may they be surrounded with care. And if this is we ourselves, at this time, or in the past, or in the future, may we find all that we need to live faithfully and with meaning in this world. So be it. Amen.
Disruption as a spiritual practice. I don't know about you, but for me, the word disruption is one that immediately heightens my emotions, whether for good or for ill. It's just a striking word. It reminds me of Whoopi Goldberg's character in The Lion King, Mufasa. Ugh. Disruption. Ugh. My guess is that most folks here can see disruption in a positive sense sometimes, but perhaps seeing it as both a positive and spiritual experience might take some work. And even for folks who might already be there, when we're trying to go against the grain of the dominant culture, I think we can't have too many reminders of what we are trying to do and why. Let's start with some historical foundations. One of the things I think is great about the notion of spiritual disruption is that it is actually thousands and thousands of years old and plays significant roles in Jewish, Christian, and Muslim texts. Judaism provides the real foundation of the concept in the form of the prophets and what we now know as the prophetic tradition. Simply, it's about speaking truth to power. In the Hebrew scriptures, when people got too comfortable and were not paying sufficient attention to their ethical commitments, God would call someone to shake things up. The prophet Amos, in particular, was very clear in his critique of amassing wealth while neglecting the poor. I suspect that most of us here are quite familiar with the lines, but let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. We sing them in hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land. But those positive, forward-looking lines are preceded by some very sharp words. Hear these from the book of Amos, chapter 5. I hate, I despise your festivals, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. So that is 0% subtle, and certainly would have been experienced as a kind of disruption. And for those of you who might be thinking, just because it's in the scriptures, it doesn't mean it actually happened. I think, in fact, that makes it more powerful, because whether or not it happened, the people who assembled this book wanted that in the book. They wanted to be reminded of the importance of disruption. Now, many of the things that Jesus said were certainly within this ethical framework as well, in terms of critiquing the dominant social order and pointing to another way. Jesus took it to another level and actually used physical force to disrupt some practices that he considered to be unjust. Who knows what I'm talking about? What did Jesus do? Yeah, he flipped the tables. In Matthew 21, Jesus went into the temple and he literally turned over the tables and chairs that he thought were being used to take advantage of the poor. His spiritual practice of disruption meant knocking over furniture and driving people out of what he considered to be a sacred space that was being misused. I have to admit, it sounds kind of fun, getting to knock over the tables. I expect that far fewer of us know of examples of disruption from Islam. And honestly, I might not have known them myself, except that I studied Islam as part of my seminary training. My studies included reading Karen Armstrong's book, A History of God, which ended up being one of the best books of my entire seminary experience. In it, she describes Muhammad as a man of exceptional genius. Here's just a little bit of his story, as told by Armstrong. In just a few generations, Muhammad's tribe, the Quraysh, had prospered, which turned Mecca into the most important city in Arabia. In addition to being a center of religious practice, Mecca had been a center of trade and finance. This made the Quraysh ridiculously wealthy. And in Muhammad's view, it was destroying the cooperative, communal culture that used to exist among his people. In short, he thought that the Quraysh were making a new religion out of money, and he feared that it would destroy the tribe. Armstrong writes that quote, in the old nomadic days, the tribe had to come first and the individual second. Each one of its members knew that they all depended on one another for survival. Consequently, they had a duty to take care of the poor and vulnerable people in their group. Now, individualism replaced the communal ideal, and competition had become the norm. Sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? In those days, religion and culture and politics were inseparable. So whatever solution Muhammad pursued would need to have a religious element to it. And while there were words and concepts to do this, there was also the embodied act of daily prayer. As a reminder of their obligation to God, which highlighted the need to take care of the vulnerable, followers of Muhammad, practitioners of Islam, bowed down in ritual prayer. The external physical gesture of bowing was intended to cultivate a humble internal posture. The Quraysh, however, were horrified when they saw people from their proud clan bowing down as if they were slaves. They were so stridently opposed to the practice that early Muslims had to pray in secret. As Armstrong writes, the reaction of the Quraysh showed that Muhammad had diagnosed their spirit with unerring accuracy. It's such a powerful and provocative way to approach disruption, that the simple, humble act of bowing in prayer could cause such a strong reaction. I have to admit that my initial reaction was not altogether that different. I'm not horrified exactly, but there's something about the idea of literally bowing that makes me deeply uncomfortable, which may be exactly the point and exactly why it's necessary. Perhaps we should be willing to bow down to a transcendent value that is greater than ourselves, to be reminded of our obligations to each other. It doesn't need to be to God necessarily. It could be to the universe. Honestly, it doesn't need to be to a name at all. Let me share an example of disruption that's much closer to home, both chronologically and geographically. In 1993, the annual General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association was held in Charlottesville, Virginia. At the time, our association was divided into districts, and that part of Virginia was in the Thomas Jefferson District. The General Assembly Planning Committee decided that the Saturday night event, a ball, would celebrate Thomas Jefferson. And they suggested that you attend the ball dressed in period costumes from the early 19th century. On Thursday morning, in the first plenary session, a Black woman named Hope Johnson stepped up to a microphone and read a statement from African American ministers and allies from a variety of racial and cultural backgrounds. It was a very strong critique, and eventually asked, if you were to wear a period costume for the ball, must African Americans attend such events in rags and chains? A multiracial team decided that the event would still happen, but with very different expectations about the dress code. Several hundred people protested the dance. They never should have had to, but this group of folks had to disrupt their own spiritual community. Also, the theme of the month for October is democracy, which is, of course, about our national election, but it's also about our own Unitarian Universalist faith, which is historically and theologically grounded in the practice of democracy. And it does indeed take practice. Looking back 25 years later at that incident with the ball, while a fiasco, it was, according to Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, a seminal moment in Unitarian Universalism. It prompted her and one of the other people involved to become Unitarian Universalist ministers. And one reason, according to the EU World magazine, that this event stands out as paradigm breaking is because of the willingness of those involved, both the organizers of the ball and those who argued it was racist, to remain in relationship. So that's another important nuance to disruption. It doesn't just have to be something we do to other people or other communities, or that we do from a place of judgment. It's something that we can also do with ourselves from a place of evaluation, yes, but also a place of love. What does disruption mean to you? I've certainly been on my own journey around it. Although I've considered myself and tried to be an activist for justice for many, many years, to be honest with you and myself, I've had to do a lot of work around getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's taken me a long way to get to a different place of understanding of disruption. One of the most important moments was during a fellowship for people in the reproductive health and rights movement I was in, folks who were committed to racial justice. To frame the work we are called to do as gathering the knowledge and courage to disrupt racism. Not outside with other people, but within the progressive reproductive health and rights movement itself. Now, the first time I heard disruption used that way, I immediately knew that one, it made me deeply uncomfortable, and two, that it was, of course, absolutely something that I needed to do. It was a kind of discomfort that I needed to feel. And so I wonder, is there a kind of disruption that would be healthy for you to feel in your life? Disruption is rarely pleasant, but it can lead to so much growth. What needs to be disrupted so that you can grow according to your own ethics and values? Now, some of the things I preach about are clearly personal, some more political, some, like disruption, is both. So I want to share a story that gets at how we approach the concept. I have two kids under the age of 10. They were here this morning. If you're in this boat or have been or know someone with small children, you know that getting out of the house in a timely fashion can be a monumental struggle. This is true for many adults as well. I know you, I see you, it's okay. But it's exponentially harder when you have young kids in the mix. And I'm someone who likes to carry out a plan once we have one. So once we're on the way out the door, I do not want to slow that process down. However, because I'm trying to grow as a human, even when it's annoying to do so, I'm working on changing course when there isn't a good reason not to. And so one particular morning this summer, we were just about to walk out the door, so close to being out the door, when one of my children, who shall remain nameless, declared that they wanted to bring a dinosaur stuffed animal to show a friend of theirs. Now, my gut reaction was, of course, no, because we were just about to leave. But trying to be my better self, I took a breath and thought about it and realized, we don't actually have to walk out the door right now. Summer camp is a different arrival time than school. We have time, so I said, sure, sweetie, we can do that. But the stuffy was not where my child thought. So we went to the next most likely location. It's a huge cloth bag made to be the size of a beanbag chair that is both a chair and storage for stuffies. So you're just sitting on the stuffies. It's brilliant. You didn't expect product placement here, but seriously, it's a great invention. But when you seek something in the bag, you often have to dig for quite a while. And I was not excited about that particular project at that particular time, but dig we did. And then I found it. I pulled out the green dinosaur stuffy, clearly a Tyrannosaurus Rex. James Bond music started to play in my head. Dun, 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 dun. I've accomplished my mission. I looked at my kid and I said, here it is. My kid looked at me, looked at the stuffy, looked back at me and said, not that one. So a silly example, yes, but it points to a critical aspect of this work that we need to be clear on, which is that we can never be sure of the results of our disruption. Because in general, the results are out of our control, but that's not a reason not to do it. There are countless things in life that we must do regardless, even when there is no guarantee of success. The reason to disrupt something is because it needs to be disrupted, not because of our certainty about how it's going to turn out. Now, friends, not all disruptions are positive, of course. The disruptions to life and livelihood in Palestine and Lebanon and Israel and Ukraine, the disruptions in the southeastern United States by hurricanes and so on. Paradoxically, though, those disruptions will continue if we don't do a different kind of disrupting. At the October 7th vigil in Malcolm X Park, a local rabbi spoke very powerfully about being heartbroken by the death of a friend of hers in Gaza. She was reeling with grief. The path forward she found, which is as much a prayer as anything, is that she could channel her own undoing into undoing the systems that created the suffering in the first place. So that, friends, is my prayer as well. Let's channel our grief, our fear, our anger. Let's channel our undoing by the weight of the world to undoing the systems that are perpetuating inequity, oppression, and violence. Let's disrupt the status quo until justice does roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll get to kick over a few tables in the process. Amen.
I thought I had lost my connection card without leaving the pulpit, but here it is. We're going to give you a couple of minutes for a time of reflection before we initiate the offering. And you fill out your connection card. So I invite you, I trust that none of you have lost yours like I almost did, and give you a few moments to just reflect as we invite you to fill out the card, and then we'll proceed. as you can see, you know, there's some verbiage in your order of service that we have a Share the Plate recipient each month at All Souls, where half of all of the basically the cash that you put in for contributions will go to this organization. Democracy is our theme, and our Share the Plate recipient is called UU the Vote of DC, Maryland, and Virginia. The project is now in its third election cycle. It's unique. It's a three-way partnership between All Souls, UU for Social Justice, and UU the Vote nationally to mobilize, to build capacity, and to increase connection among UUs and UU congregations in our region. The All Souls REAP project is a leader in this work, and it also benefits from the increased opportunities, which has included hiring a voting campaign organizer. And thanks to a grant from the UU funding program, all donations are matched up to $5,000. Check out the REAP Action Center to see all of the project's events, as well as actions specific to All Souls, like in the in-person phone banks every Tuesday night. Now, as we know, today's sermon is about disruption, which I kind of think of as getting into good trouble. And my disruption started early in life. Unrelated to why we're here today was my months-long campaign to get my waist-length hair cut short like my friends. And I sensed potential power, and I marinated on that a few years, and then we moved, and I was taken to a big church that I was very uncomfortable in. And so I just looked at my mom, and I said, you know, I don't like those people. I don't like how they act. I don't like what they say. You can punish me anyway. You can do it every Sunday, but I am not going back. By then, the damage was done. So I am like a gay cousin of mine now who would not set foot in a church unless it was a wedding or a funeral. So my mom didn't know what to do. She said, well, if you don't go, I won't go. And I said, that doesn't make sense. Go if you want to, you know, and it just did not work. So that was my major childhood family disruption, which disruption can be positive to some, seem negative to others. The negativity kind of wore off on me, and this was a spiritual rescue for myself. You know, I removed myself from an unhealthy place. But when I was about 25, a friend from, of all places, Alabama, said, you know, you really ought to go to the Unitarian Church. And I'm like, the what? And I'm like, I don't do church. But eventually one Sunday, I guess I had a light Saturday night in my 20s. I was about 25. And I went. And I was like, oh my God, these are my people. So nearly 45 years later, here I am today. I am a Unitarian because of my friend. Now, congregations have their ups and downs. The one in Little Rock did some when I was there. We've had our ups and downs. I'm telling you, I'm sticking with this family. I'd like you to take a moment and reflect on what All Souls means and has meant to you, to your family if you attend as a family. You know, and by embracing and engaging in our covenant, becoming or remaining involved in all of our important community activities, and participating in getting into good trouble with us. Now, if you're in the sanctuary, the ushers are going to be passing the plate. You can also text ASCU to the number 73256. There's a link in the chat if you're participating on Zoom. I thank you in advance for your generosity. Today's offering will be received.
Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, we're going to teach you a little bit of a song. We know that disruption requires some interaction, but sometimes our disruption is marked by our ability to withstand that which is difficult. So just repeat after me. Say, hold on. Hold on. Say, change is coming. Change is coming. Say, hold on. Hold on. And then we'll say it together, don't worry about a thing. Say it. Don't worry about a thing. One more time. Hold on. Hold on. Then we'll say, you can make it. You can make it. All right, good. Hold on. Hold on. And then we'll say it together, everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. Song says, yesterday, a man said to me, said, how can you smile when your world is crumbling down? I said, here's my seat. When I want to cry, I take please stand with us in body or in spirit as we sing our closing hymn, This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine.
So friends, if you want to learn more about what you can do here at All Souls, I invite you to Pierce Hall for the Find Your Ministry Fair after service. There are many opportunities. But in general, let us close with this simple truth. If we want things to turn out differently, then we have to be willing to do things differently. Might not always turn out the way we'd hoped, but all we can do, all we must do, is try. Go in peace and practice love. Amen.
Thank you.